Welcome to the Self-Publishing School podcast. This is the podcast to listen to if you're an aspiring writer or an author who wants to be more successful. On this show, you'll learn how to write and launch a book successfully, all from the top authors and people just like you who are doing it at the highest level. I'm your host, Chandler Bolt, the founder of Self-Publishing School, the author of the book called Published, and the CEO of selfpublishing.com. For free training on how to publish a book that sells 10,000 copies, go to selfpublishing.com/free training. Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and joining me today is a longtime friend, Mr. McWilliams. He's the author of the book coming out real soon. You see it if you're watching on the YouTube channel, and his backdrop is called Turn Your Passions into Profits, the proven path for building a rewarding online business. You may also know him as the affiliate guy. He's got a podcast by that name, and he's really one of the best affiliate marketers in the industry, I think. I've got the chance to work with Matt over the years in a lot of different capacities. In the early days, he ran all of our affiliate stuff, which is a huge part of the reason why we were even able to get on the map and get to our first million and few $1 million in sales for Self-Publishing School. And then fast forward to today, it's cool. It's kind of full circle, is working and training our affiliate and business development team at SPS so that we can scale to multi-millions per year from affiliates. So affiliates are something that I really believe in. Matt McWilliams is something that I really believe in. So we're going to merge the two here today and talk and give a little behind the scenes on his new book in this interview. So Matt, welcome. Great to have you here.
Man, good to be here, Chandler. Thanks so much for having me, bud.
So talk to me about why this book. How does this fit in with your business goals? Why did you decide to do this book? And you're obviously spending a lot of time on it, a lot of energy on it, while at the same time having this big business, and it's a lot to manage. So why do this, and how does this fit in with your goals?
Yeah, it's as much as anything, it's a passion project. Yeah, I mean, there's business goals. Please don't misunderstand me, but it probably would have been easier to write a book about, that's more towards like 7-figure entrepreneurs who could become clients, like you talked about, working with your team or working, like we did in the past, running your stuff. But for me, it was just this, I talked to so many entrepreneurs, and I keep just hearing from them over and over again, these lies, these misconceptions, like the world doesn't need my voice. There's somebody saying the same thing I would say. There's enough messengers in the world. There's, I love what I'm doing, but I'm not making any money. And then I hear people saying the reverse of that, like, dude, my business is succeeding, but I hate it. I'm not passionate about it. And so that was kind of the genesis of the title, right? Passions into profits, right? How do you turn your passions into profits? I see so many entrepreneurs that are on those two extremes. They're passionate, but they're not making any money. They're making money, but they're not passionate. And I wanted to come up with how do we merge those two together? And so the whole premise of the book, it really hinges on one belief, and that's that the world needs your message. The world needs your message, but it's not going to wait passively or patiently. The world needs your message, but it's going to move on without it. And so how do we take those passions? How do we take that idea, that message, our life experiences, our unique life experiences? People forget sometimes how unique their life actually is. Nobody has ever experienced the exact same things that you've experienced. That doesn't mean you can't be empathetic. It just means nobody has your experiences combined with your message. And so how do we take those and actually turn them into a profitable business? So that was the genesis of this. It's just years and years of hearing the same things over and over again until I finally was like, I've got to get this out in the world in some way. And I know, like my personal belief is, Chandler, there's no better way than a book. There are other ways. There's just not a better way. And so we wanted to get this out in many hands as possible. Courses are great. You make a lot of money with courses, but hundreds of people would buy the course. We believe, thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, or possibly maybe,
hopefully
people could buy this book.
Yeah, that's great. You talk about the personal passion behind the topic, behind this topic, which I think partially answers this question, but I'll, maybe ask it anyway, just to see your take. And the book isn't out yet, and I haven't got a copy. As a result, I haven't got a copy yet, and so I haven't read it. So I don't know the ins and outs of the book yet. But I think on surface value, it'd be easy to say, hey, why, like, you're the affiliate guy. Why not just write an affiliate book? And like I said, maybe you have some of those components within this building your online business piece, but how did you decide on this topic versus just like straight in the pocket? Let's write an affiliate management book, that sort of thing.
So I'm going to answer that question, but let me just say this, like there's 10 steps in the book, right? Step 9 is commit to monetize. All right. So we go all the way from clarify who you help to create consistent content. Well, the step before that is commit to monetize. And that's a mindset thing. And we talk a lot about the mindset. Not surprisingly, I'm talking about monetization in that chapter. So I talk about affiliate marketing and I talk about how to start affiliate marketing. Not surprisingly, being the affiliate guy, guess what chapter is the longest in the book? Because guess which chapter got the most cut from it when I had to edit it? It was definitely chapter 9. We cut half the chapter because it was like 50,000 words long. It was a book in and of itself. Now, here's a little hint. The next book will be all about that. It'll be a lot of the stuff that we had to cut, plus some elaboration there. So that's a whole different thing. So this is step 1. This is step 1. This is like, okay, how do you even clarify who you help? How do you clarify who your audience is? How do you learn how to lead them? How do you learn how to capture their attention in a noisy world? How do you create a community? Step 2 will be more into that monetization piece. So think of this book as how do you go from 0 to maybe even 6 figures, low 6 figures. But that's about as far as this book's going to take you. So I'll just say this. If you're a 7-figure entrepreneur, book's probably not for you. Go buy it for somebody who needs it though. I just say that, but it's probably not for you. I'm running an $8 million business. Don't buy the book. It's not going to serve you. Buy it for somebody else. The next book, of course, will be more on that. Like, okay, how do you now go into more of the affiliate side? How do you go from making $100,000 a year to making $1 million a year? The next book will be okay, how do you now rapidly scale? We touch on it a little bit in step 10, start your own affiliate program. And I share some of the benefits, but if all I wrote was the 7 pages I write about running an affiliate program in this book, and that was my life's message about affiliate management, I'm leaving a few things out, like your team gets more than that in 5 minutes of coaching with me, And so, I mean, to answer your question, like that's how it ties in. There is a lot of that in the book, because again, there's a lot about monetization. To answer your question about how this ties into kind of my bigger, business goals. We primarily, our business is primarily coaching people on affiliate marketing and coaching people on affiliate management. Most people in the world, 99.9% of the world is not ready for me. So this book helps them get there. If I can get them to start a blog, to start a YouTube channel, to start a podcast, to grow an audience, to get their first 1,000 or 2 subscribers. Step 4 in the book, if you read it and follow what I teach in that, by the time you finish the book, you'll have 500 subscribers. Are you going to have 10,000? Probably not. But you can go full-time with a business with a couple thousand subscribers. You do not, there's a lie out there that says, you need 100,000 people. No, you don't. I know people who make 6 figures with 3,000 people on their list. Right. So you can go full-time with a few thousand people. You can have that within a couple of months of reading this book. And so if I take you to that, naturally, you're going to want to take the next level. Nobody goes, I'm running a $60,000 business and making a little bit of an impact on the world. I want to stop now. No, you go, I want to have more impact. I want to make more money. I want to have more influence. So you're going to go to the next level, and hopefully subsequent books will take you along there.
That's cool. That makes sense. So the sequential kind of way of, you've got the big passion impact book that will also accelerate people towards the next book or working with you further. And then it kind of reminds me of, I remember hearing a story about John Warillo, who wrote a couple great books, Built to Sell. And then that last chapter, it sounds kind of similar to what you're describing. The last chapter was about recurring revenue in your business. And he got so many questions about that one chapter that he then went on to write The Automatic Customer, which is about having recurring revenue in your business, right? And so it sounds kind of similar, where it's like, I'm sure you already and will get so many questions about that last chapter on affiliate management. And then that goes straight into the big book that kind of comes after that. So
like I said, in the original manuscript, I mean, step 9 was almost 50,000 words, and we cut it down to about 12,000. Yeah, exactly. We cut it down to about 13,000 words. The whole book is, about 82,000.
Which is a solid book.
it's almost 300 pages, don't get me wrong, but it's
Yeah.
a fraction of what I originally wrote. And so naturally, I've already got roughly half of the next book written, because it's just stuff that we cut from this one. Like,
Yeah.
so that's the good news. And so it's very sequential, and it's, like there's 10 steps in this. I think of it as like the first 8 steps are very complete. They are complete. They are done. Like you are good to go with those 8 steps.
Yeah.
9 and 10, it's just like anything in life. It's like, how do you play football? I could explain to you how to play football in an hour, how to play soccer in about an hour. But now, like, our daughter's in travel soccer, and the like, I coach our son, so he's 7. I coach our son at 7. When I coach his practices, versus what they're doing in the 11-year-old practices, it's night and day.
Mm.
I told my daughter, she's like, why don't you coach me? I'm like, I can't.
Mm.
You are better than I am. I can't
Mm.
coach you at this. So that's what the next
Yeah.
2 weeks are. Yeah.
That's cool. I want to circle back to affiliate stuff here in a bit and talk and unpack kind of affiliate marketing. But first, I want to ask one more question on your process. So I think you did an awesome job of something that we teach is building buzz by creating in public.
Yeah. Stole that from you.
Well, then right back, like, I think as I was writing this book, published the most recent book, one of the 30-day rough draft challenge was, I think, inspired because about that time, you were posting daily your word count. I'm like, this is genius. We need to include this in this challenge and have people post their word count daily. So you wrote in public and shared a lot along the way. What was the thought behind that? And then what were a couple of the biggest benefits from doing that?
Yeah. Well, to kind of set the stage for that, you have to understand, I wrote this book in probably the busiest season of my life, business-wise. I had about a week and a half at the beginning of that season that was over my Christmas break. Every year, from right before Christmas through the first week of New Year's, I take off completely. And I started it then, and I was writing for like an hour and 20 minutes in the morning every day, cranking out stuff. I mean, I made it through, I don't know, maybe 24,000, 25,000 words out of what ended up being a 120,000 word manuscript that we cut back, like I said. And I made so much progress, but now I'm like, I don't have an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half a day. I just don't have it. And we came up with, I met with our COO, our operations manager, who's also a productivity guru. He has his own productivity platform. I'm like, what do I do, man? And he's like, he's like, find amount of time you can just write for every day. I was like, 20 minutes. He's like, then write for 20 minutes. And we actually decided on 17 minutes. Whenever I hit a stopping point after 17 minutes, I was done. So if I hit it at 17:03, I was done. That gave me 2 minutes and 57 seconds to just kind of go through. I'm not going to edit, but I'm going to kind of just, okay. And then I like to type the next sentence out, leave that kind of that cliffhanger in my mind. Right. And that was it. If I stopped at 19 and a half, I stopped at 19 and a half. Like, that was it. I stopped when the timer went off. 17 minutes. Like, you don't have to write for hours. You do not have to be a professional writer. You're the biggest proof of that. You talk about your whole book is about the fact that you don't have to. It's not about going to a cabin somewhere and writing for 2 weeks. You can do that if you're able to. If I waited to do that, the book would still not be written. Like, you and I wouldn't be talking right now. They just would not. It would never have happened. I'm never going to have that kind of time, with my business. So I wrote for 17 minutes a day, and I'm like, well, I need to hold myself accountable, to this. And admittedly, I know what I'm doing. I'm building buzz. I'm not stupid. I know that this is like the pre-sell, the 2 years in advance selling of the book. So every day I took a screenshot. I popped open the word count. I popped in a screenshot, posted it on Facebook. And, it was kind of interesting because, like, every time I would post, there would be more people commenting. And I started getting DMs like, dude, I'm stealing this. I'm doing this. Do you mind if I do? Like, I don't mind if you do this, And it was crazy. It started taking on a life of its own. I started getting messages like, are you almost done? When does it come out? Do you have a publisher yet? Whatever the thing is, like, what, asking for, how'd you write this? How'd you do this? Like, can you send me your rough draft? I'd like to help you edit it, and we hired a professional editor, but I crowdsourced the editing too. So I had extra eyeballs on it for concepts that maybe a professional editor is not going to catch. And it was this amazing process. And it was 17 minutes a day. So that was my thinking was, yes, the building buzz, but more than anything, I knew at the end of the day, if I didn't post a number that was higher than yesterday, I was going to actually get messages saying, where's your word count? Where's your word count? Where's your word count? and so it worked. I mean, the book got done. Took me about, I think it was 98 days to get it done, but an initial about 10-day sprint, or about an hour 20 hour and a half a day, and then 17 minutes a day every single day after that.
Hey, Chandler Bolt here. I hope you're loving this episode so far. It's time to go from inspiration to implementation. All right, so if you've learned something, we want to help you implement what you've learned with your book. So what I want you to do right now is go to selfpublishing.com/schedule, book a publishing consultation with one of the experts on my team. We'll talk about your goals for your book, your dreams, your challenges, your next steps, and we'll start putting together a plan. All right, so go to selfpublishing.com/schedule, book a call with the team. Let's see how we can help with your book. It's time to implement. That's wild. That's wild. I love that 17-minute a day method. Let's switch gears to some affiliate management stuff. Because I think this will be really helpful for folks, and it's something that we don't talk about a lot on the podcast. So can you give a big picture on what is affiliate management and having affiliates or affiliate marketing, I guess I should say, and how can authors tap into this for marketing their books? And this will probably segue into some of the stuff you're doing to launch this book.
Yeah. And, we've done this for so many others. Like we did it with Lewis Howes. We did it with Brian Tracy. We did it with people you've never heard of, Jeff Goins. I mean, that's how you and I, not connected initially, but kind of how we really took that next step and how we ended up working with you. Was, Jeff calls me up one day and he's like, "You do affiliate management. Can you run the affiliate stuff for my book?" And I'm like, "I never thought about this for a book, but yeah, sure." And I remember he's like, he had a publisher. He worked with Thomas Nelson. He's like, "I got to tell them how many books I'm going to sell." I said, 15,000. He's like, "I can't tell them 15,000. My last book sold 3,000. I'm like, 15,000. He's like, "I can't do it." I'm like, "You tell them 15,000. I'm not working with you. I need you all in on this." So we did 22,000 pre-orders. They almost didn't print enough. He told them 15,000. I think they printed 25, and he almost, like, this was back before it was harder to print, meaning, we have nowhere now as we're recording this. I was just talking with somebody. They said there was a shortage of paper. Like they had to push back their pub dates. How do we run out of paper in America? But that's a whole different thing. Like paper, I'm not an expert, but how do you run out of paper? And so anyway, so that was the genesis. And we started working with all these people on their book launches and effectively, if I can describe this in the simplest possible terms, newsflash, when you're coming out with your first book, unless you are like an uber celebrity, you're probably not going to get major media. In fact, you probably aren't even, more than likely, going to get featured on Fox, 42 in Des Moines, Iowa. All right. You're not. It's just reality. And people aren't clamoring to interview podcasts, do podcasts with people they've never heard of. You'll get a few if you do the right stuff, you'll get a few, but it's really, really hard. So we leverage affiliates. We're expecting 80 to 90% of our sales to come from affiliates. And so how that works is, number one, you got to get the affiliates. And the simplest way to do that, there's a whole process I could take you through, but the simplest way, we've got a report that you can download. Just if you go to mattmcwilliams.com/first100, FIRST100, and it walks you through where to find affiliates. So you reach out to people that people that you don't know. You find people who promoted similar books. I call it the Amazon rabbit trail. You go to Amazon. If your book's already up on Amazon, here's the thing. Amazon will tell you, their AI is unreal. They will tell you all the books that are just like yours. So then you click on that one, and then you go find somebody that promoted that book. And then you go down the rabbit trail and you keep clicking until you just get tired. You can find thousands of potential affiliates that way. Okay. So that's step one. You find the affiliates. Step two, they have to have a way to make money, and they are not going to make money selling your book. Think of your book as a low ticket, a low priced lead magnet. All right. It is an attraction thing. It's an easy thing for them to sell. All right. It's a $20 product, $15 to $25 product. I think the hardcover of mine's like $24. I mean, if you think about that, unlike a $1,000 course where people might bookmark it, come back to it a week later and go, should I buy it? I don't know. They talk to their wife. Very few people are having existential debates about whether or not to buy a book. So it's an easy thing for them to sell. Then they buy the book and it needs to take them through a sales funnel. Now, I know you know all this, Chandler, and you teach this stuff, but that's where the affiliates make money, is on the back end sales. So like for ours, for instance, we have tons of pre-order stuff. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, if you go through an affiliate, you're going to go through a sales funnel and you're going to get offered some other stuff. And if you buy any of that stuff, the affiliate is going to make a commission. So that's how they make their money. And so step one, you find the affiliate. Step two, you build the funnel. And then step three is you engage your affiliates, right? This is the affiliate management piece of the puzzle, right? You stay in contact with them. You let them in behind the scenes. When you do your unboxing video, when you get the box with your books, send that to your affiliates. Let them know how excited you are about the book. Record a video reminding them of the important dates. For ours, for example, right now I'm already recording videos reminding them, like, hey, make sure the podcasts drop in the first couple of weeks of December. Here's the launch schedule. Here's when it's important, because we have, my book launches on January 10th. So there's that Christmas holiday thing kind of messes it up a little bit because it gets noisy there. We don't really want to go early in November because there's the midterm elections, and that's going to suck up the news cycle for a couple of weeks. So we're teaching them, like, here's why you don't do this and why you do this, how to promote it. We have 57 social media graphics for them, like all these things that we have for them. We're giving them all these resources. We're giving them swipe copy, which is email copy that they can copy and paste and tweak to fit their audience. We got 4 different versions. We got some for the entrepreneur, for the established entrepreneur, but isn't quite. We got the 2 different audiences I mentioned earlier. They're passionate, but they're not profitable, and they're profitable, not passionate. And we got another one that's got a faith-based angle to it, because we have a lot of faith-based affiliates, and it's not a faith-based book at all, but there is a underlying current there for some of those people. And so we've got all these different, resources for our affiliates to help them succeed, because if they can sell, if we get 100 affiliates who each sell 50 books, my math correct, that's 5,000 books, having that army of people. Now, of course, we want 300 affiliates to sell, 50 books, but, even at low levels, 50 affiliates selling 20 books, I mean, it's 1,000 books just like that, if you do it properly.
Mm. And what's your take on, I know we were talking about this a little bit before the interview. What's your take on, because, there's probably some people who are thinking, hey, I'd love to do affiliate marketing either with my book or with my business, but I don't know, or I'm not connected to these big heavy hitters. So maybe this is off limits for me. And then there's maybe people who have a lot of connections. They're like, hey, I should only focus on these big connections that I have. And should I go small? Should I go big? Like, what's your take on kind of the winning strategy for both of those avatars?
To address the one who's like, I got a lot of connections, maybe I should just go all in on affiliates. Like, I'm the affiliate guy. I built my entire brand on the affiliate side. I don't even think it should be all of your business. I think you still need paid advertising. I think you still need SEO. I think you still need social media. Now, in my business, affiliate accounts for 70% of the business, but I still have the 30%, and I like that 30%. That pays for a lot of vacations. It's nice. So I don't want to do away with that. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying just like only affiliates. Do all the other stuff. It's not either or, it's both and. All right. The flip side, you asked, like, what if I know nobody? You do not need to know anybody to go down the Amazon rabbit trail. All right. If I were picking a client and the client came to me and said, I have 500 people that I think could be potential affiliates, and client B came to me and said, I have 0, who would I rather work with? Well, the first one. But when I started my very first affiliate program back in 2005, we didn't know anybody. We had 0 connections. I had to invent this. Like, there was like 2 blog posts about how to start an affiliate program. All right. There was no affiliate guy. I've got 512 episodes live right now, I think. There was nothing like my stuff back then, because 17 years ago. So I kind of invented it. And a year and a half later, we're doing $1 million a month. We didn't know anybody. I did it by doing exactly what I'm talking about now, not the Amazon rabbit trail. That's specifically for books, but we just reached out to our competitors' affiliates and said, here's why I think we're better. Do you want to come join us? We actually didn't pay more. I said, the reason we're better is because we're going to treat you like a person, not a number. The reason we're better is you're going to have my cell phone number. You're going to get emails from me, not emails from the such and such affiliate team. That was my only angle. I didn't have the angle of where you're going to make more money, in the short term. So find that angle. But on the Amazon trail, side, really what you're doing is you're saying, here's the effective message, right? This is the gist of the email, and you can try different things, but the gist of the email is, hey, I saw that you promoted, let's just say it's, Joe Smith's How to Grow Hydroponic Tomatoes book. Weird example of where the heck that came from, but whatever. Here, how to grow vegetables in an urban environment book. I've got a book about such and such that's similar in this way, but different in this way. Wondered if you'd be interested in sharing it with your audience. By the way, we've got, possible affiliate commissions for you to earn, or a way for you to earn, some money doing so. Let me know if you're interested. That's the gist. I don't need to know Sally. I don't need to know her when I reach out to her. The connection is, I saw that you already promoted something that's similar to my thing. I know we don't know each other. Are you open to a conversation? And this is the big key when you reach out with this email, especially these cold emails. Don't ask them to say yes. Don't try to get a yes response from, and it sounds counterintuitive. Don't try to get a yes response. Just try to get them to say, tell me more, or I'm interested, because that opens up a conversation. Because if you've ever gotten an email that, if you're those of you watching on video, I'm like a whole page long, right? You got a 500-word email from somebody you don't know. What do you do with it immediately? Delete. You click that trash can icon, you never read it. But if I write you a 3-sentence email, hey, I saw you promoted such and such, just wondering if you're interested in possibly sharing this with your audience. You go, tell me more, or can I have some more info? Now you've invited me to write you a 6 to 10 sentence, not a 17 paragraph, but a 6 to 10 sentence email about how it would benefit me to promote that and benefit my audience. So you've opened up a conversation. So you don't have to know anybody. And if you do have connections, then leverage those connections, leverage groups, leverage connections of connections. Once you start getting affiliates, ask those affiliates, hey, do you know anybody who might be a good fit to promote this book? That should be your number one source of new affiliates. Once you get, even if you get 10, you go get 10, you should get 5 to 10 more. You worked your butt off to get the 10. The next 5 to 10 should be easy. It's simple. You send them an email, hey, you know anybody? And then they'll send some people. And the cool thing is that it perpetuates itself, because now you take those 5 to 10 and you send them the same email. Next thing you know, you got 32 affiliates, and you really only worked your butt off to get 10 of them. And so to answer the last question, I'm on a roll. To answer the last question, like big or small, it's all of the above. If you can land yourself a whale of an affiliate who can drive 3,000 books, sign me up for that program, right? But the majority of your book sales, majority of any sales from your affiliate program are going to come from the small to medium-sized affiliates. We call it creating an army, and the beauty to that army is, my hope is this is not your last book. You wrote this book. I know this ain't my last book. I already talked about that. I have at least 3 more in me in the next 4 years. We were talking as a team last week. We're launching 3 more books in the next 4 years. Right. So I want 90% or more of the affiliates that promote this book to promote my next one. And that way, if I lose, a few, if I lose even a big one, that big one probably made up 5% of my sales. So I go, darn it. That kind of sucked, but it's not the end of the world. And I see that people make that mistake. They're like, I got 50 really big ones. Awesome. The odds of you getting all 50 of them back next time are slim to none. So you got to go out and build yourself an army, so you have that, that perpetual growth.
That's great. We're coming up on our time, so I'll ask a couple final questions. One is just super practical and personal. So, we'll do a few $1 million in sales from our affiliates and partners at SPS this year. What's the one thing that you would do if you were us to take that number closer to 6 to 10 million in 2023?
Man, what am I supposed to talk to your team about next
week? The team about it.
That's on the agenda. I can't say that now. Honestly, I'll share what I've already told them. So I cannot answer with one. I can answer with 2 because they're connected. Number one, make it, and make it ridiculously easy for your affiliates. And I know there's some tech stuff, and this applies to anybody. So I'll just open it up. Like, you got to make it stupid easy for your affiliates. The sign up process, the onboarding process, the getting their resources process, and make it easy for your team to be able to scale rapidly. Like to be able to add 2, 3, 4, 500 affiliates in the next 6 months. And then the second thing is, doing what we call, open events. So whether it's a launch or webinars or summits or whatever, doesn't matter, workshop, doesn't matter what you're doing, but doing them open. And what I mean by that is, you guys have succeeded, as a lot of people have, by doing these one-on-one webinars where, you have Joe Smith and he hosts the webinar and Joe's on and Joe offers, a really good bonus and Joe's sending it to him. It's a very homogenous audience, but it's very limiting because the reality is the majority, I shared this with you earlier, like look at like our clients, the overwhelming majority, 60, 70, 80% of their sales come from people that are not big enough to do that individual webinar. They're going to drive 2, 3, 4 sales. And you can't do a bunch of webinars that generate 3 sales, but can you have 30 of them do one webinar that generates 90 sales? Yeah, that sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so you do these open webinars and it creates this buzz. The webinars themselves become like mini launches. Like we just did this. I don't think he'd mind me mentioning his name because he told me I could mention anything I wanted to. Joseph Michael, who I know and you guys are going to do some stuff together, which is awesome. We did first one. Been working with them for just a couple of weeks. First open webinar. I think it was like, it ended up being, what we did was we do a 4-4-4 model. So 4 days of promo, 4 days, then you have the webinar on the 4th day, 4 days of replay, 4 days of open cart. So it basically becomes like a 12-day launch. Now he has different products and things. So we do one of those every single month. Did the very first one, I think we did something like 60 or 70 or 80 sales. I don't remember the exact number. I think there was 45 live on the webinar, another 20 from the replay, and another 20 from open cart. And so that was all from like no affiliate had more than like 4 sales. It's just a boatload of people with 1, 2, 3, 4 sales, but on a whole, 80 sales. And so that
Super
creates
smart.
it creates that vibe for the affiliates, and he's doing it. There's like 500, 1,000 people on the webinar. So he's stoked and the energy levels up and the comments are going like boom, 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 boom. Every time he says, leave a comment, instead of there being like 14 people and it's kind of like a dead room, they're going so fast, you can't even keep up with them. So that would be my advice, which I've already talked
awesome.
about.
Yeah, that's awesome. we got our first group webinar next week, I think. And so as at the time of recording this, so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Matt, what will be your parting piece of advice, knowing what you know now, to the Matt of years ago before you wrote this book, and to all the other Matts who are thinking about writing their first book?
Start it right now, like today. Write for 10 minutes. Don't write an outline. Just write the introduction. I started with the dedication because I knew if I could write, it was weird because the dedication of the book is the Steve Jobs quote, the ones who will change the world are the crazy ones. And I wrote, this is to the crazy ones who are bold enough to think they can change the world, because you will. I may have butchered that. You have to go read the book. But, I wrote that and went, I got it. The rest of this is going to be easy. I would have written, you said, let's just say the Matt of 8 years ago, I would have written this book 8 years ago. That was the only advice I would get, was like, start today. And there are no, I'm telling you right now, I ran 2 product launches over $7 million, which I promised you are exhausting and time consuming as you can possibly imagine, in the midst of my kids' soccer season, while also going through a personal transformation in my health. All right. In the midst of a freaking pandemic. I don't want to hear excuses. Like, that's what I would tell myself. 17 minutes a day. Maybe yours is 12 minutes a day. I don't know, whatever it is, but just like start. Maybe I wrote it in 98. Maybe it takes you 150. But can you, like, if you think about it, like, you in 12 minutes a day, in 30 days, you could be 1/5 of the way done with your book. That's better than being 0%, which is where most people stay. So, that would be the only advice I give. Just start now. Like, literally, you are listening, turn me off, go buy the book first, pre-order the book. All right, pre-order the book, then turn this off and go start on the book. Don't do anything else until you finish the book, in terms of like thinking about books and I'm going to write about it and studying it, and just want to just like do it. I'm speaking to the choir, right? Do it.
Oh yeah. I'm about to shout you down with some amens. Just get started. There's never a perfect time. Hey, you mentioned pre-ordering the book. Where can people go to buy the book, pre-order it, or if they're seeing this after the book's already come out to buy it and figure out all that good stuff.
Yeah, super special link, guys. passionsintoprofitsbook.com/SPS. All right. What did we all just talk about? Y'all know what's going to happen. Do I need to clarify? No, I don't. You know what's going to happen, right? And so passionsintoprofitsbook.com/SPS. Make sure you guys go there. Grab a copy there. We got tons of extra goodies, like whether you make Chandler any money on the back end or not, tons of freebies on the front end, like depending upon when you order, it's like almost $1,000 worth of pre-order bonuses. So make sure you guys get it while the getting's good, and you can buy it through any of the major retailers and all that fun stuff too.
So say that URL one more time, Matt.
passionsintoprofitsbook.com/SPS.
passionsintoprofitsbook.com/SPS. Check it out, guys. Grab a copy of the book. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Self-Publishing School podcast. I know there's so many places that you can be spending your time. There's other podcasts that you could be listening to, YouTube channels that you could be watching. So thank you so much. It means the world. Now, I want you to do 3 things right now if you found this episode helpful. All right, number 1, I don't know if you know this, but we've got a YouTube channel. It's a companion channel to this podcast. All the video versions of the episode are on the YouTube channel. So number 1, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Number 2, if you're listening to this podcast wherever, whether this is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, number 2, I want you to subscribe to this podcast right now so you don't miss a future episode. And then number 3, this is probably the most important, leave a review on the podcast. All right, reviews are super important and help the podcast get discovered by other people. So number 3, leave a review on the podcast. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode. If you're on the fence about scheduling a publishing consultation call with my team, maybe you're not quite ready for that, I've got some free training that I think will be really helpful for you. All right, all you have to do is go to register to sign up. Go to selfpublishing.com/free training. When you do, you're also going to get a free digital copy of my new book published. And on that training, you're going to learn the next steps, so how to implement with your book. So how to write, how to publish, how to launch successfully. So go to register right now at selfpublishing.com/free training. I'll see you there.